Well, called Gary over at John the Jack Man, explained my problem to him, and he told me that there's no way you could do that while I waited because he would probably have to manufacture or fabricate a sleeve to do it, since I was having so much trouble with it, because he basically gave me some of the initial guidelines, which I tried, and he said, well, since that didn't work for me, he's probably going to have to fabricate a sleeve to get him in. Which means I'd have to drive down there, leave it, and then come back like a week later, and I really want to try and get this done, so I decided to take another shot at it. I got a recommendation to soak the seals in hot water and then install them and mush them down with hose clamps, and I'd like to try that, but I've staked the nut on there for the 50th time now, or what seems like the 50th time, so I can't get the seals off without grinding that again, and I really don't feel like doing that again, so I'm going to just try and do it without soaking them. What I did do is I got, turns out I had aluminum flashing and I just forgot about it, so I got some more aluminum flashing to play with. And what I did do is I got some big hose clamps here, so I'm just kind of doing a rough. I'm also going to try and use gravity to help me get this in, so I've got the cylinder pointed up. I've got it basically using the tailgate of the truck and the bumper there, and a ratcheting tie strap to keep it from falling over on me. I've capped off my hose ends to keep dirt from getting in there, and this is just a dry run, and it might actually work, so now I'm going to lube it up and see what happens. So I greased up the leading edge there. I decided to go back to grease, and not the country, the lubricant. And I got the leading edge in there a little bit, and what I'm doing is I'm turning it and letting it screw itself in, and as long as the sleeve stays with the piston, it should travel in and keep those seals protected. And then if I can get it in to the point where it's even with this clamp, then I'll loosen the clamp and slide the clamp up, put more lube on there, and continue in that fashion. And up here I just put a hunk of pipe in there to help me act as a T-handle to help turn it. I don't know, still doesn't seem like it's going. I think if I could just get it started, it might be okay. It might work. I'm going to try putting the clamp down closer to the, I'm going to move this clamp down. Let's see if that helps. Alright, I added a second clamp. I lowered the first one and added a second one right above that one. Alright, it seems like the leading edge is getting hung up. I think that's what the problem is. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition the sleeve so that the sleeve overhangs the end of the piston. Alright, so now I've got it repositioned, and I also cut this shorter because the ends were overlapping each other, and that was causing a double up of the thickness at the edge there, and I think that might have also been giving me some trouble. Well, the good news is it's gone in quite a bit. Bad news is I'm having to smash it with the mallet standing up on top of the truck to get it to go. And I'm pretty sure that's shouldn't be that tough, which scares me and makes me think that part of those threads just isn't getting covered by this metal, and those damn seals are just trying to go against the threads and getting all torn up again and maybe folding over. And I'll tell you what, at this point, if I get it in, we're just gonna put it back online and see how it acts, because I've about had it. Well, it's in, and it's past the threads, and it still doesn't want to just slide in. So I think what's happened now is I've just torn the seals, and they're just all jammed in there. And the reason why I think that is because if you look over here, as it passed this port right here, it tore a big hunk of seal off. Let me see if I can fish it out. Look at that. That's part of that rubber chevron deal. So that was just another big waste of time and $30 more down the tubes. To make matters worse, it's jammed in there. It should move a lot easier than it's moving. Well, before I head back over to the machine, I'm going to at least clean up this pin on the wire wheel, make it a little easier to put it in, put some grease on it. Oh, days like today, I wish I had an assistant. But I managed. If that cylinder was any larger in size, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. But when it was just me lifting that half or this half, it wasn't too bad, but when you put the two pieces together, it gets pretty heavy. All right, I've got that pin in. I'm not going to bother putting the other retaining pin in yet. I was snugging this up, and then I almost forgot a critical part, which is lubing up that oil, that O-ring, so that the twisting motion of the last bit of tightening there doesn't tear up the O-ring. Put some lube on it. Okay, I've only hooked up the line on this side, and I'm going to leave this line disconnected for right now, because basically what I want to do is I want to pump fluid in on this side and hopefully move that piston back this way and let all this air that's in here right now get displaced. And then also what I'm hoping is I won't see a bunch of fluid coming out of that line, because if I have a bunch of fluid coming out of that line, it means it's just blowing right by my seals on my piston, and that means that they're junk. Uh-oh. I left my battery post hooked up this whole time, which means if I still have a drawdown problem with my electrical system, then I may have killed my brand new battery's charge. Should be a bummer. Ooh, there's mosquitoes swarming around here, but they haven't bitten me yet, but they're gonna get around to it. Nope, cranked right over, no problem. So I guess my problem before was just a bad battery. All right, so now I gotta play a little Russian roulette and figure out which one of my controls that cylinder, and then also hopefully pull it in the right direction so that I don't send a shower of fluid out of this thing. This end one should be the bucket, but it's not. Alright, so this one's raising and lowering the boom. This one's the dipper stick. I know this one's swing. I'm almost positive this one's the swing, so this must be the bucket. Yep, there it goes. See if I can zoom in on it. I guessed right. Pushing it forward is in. You can hear air coming out of there. Alright, so now I'm going to hook this line up to there, and then I can extend that. And then of course it's going to take a little bit of bumping back and forth to get it to line up perfectly, so I can zoom out here. A little bit of bumping back and forth, and I'll be able to get that position perfectly so that I can slip that pin in. Alright, I got the other line hooked up. Now I've got I got to get this twisted back in alignment, so let's see if it'll move now. If I put a bar through there, if I could twist it back. If not, I might have to extend it a little more and try twisting it. Alright, let's see. So far, so good. Well, the good news is no leaks yet, and it's working. Haven't really put it under any stress yet. Bad news is that thing's still twisted, and I can't twist it for the life of me. It's tight. So I think I'll go get I'll go get a length of pipe that I think I can slide over that pin and use for leverage to hopefully turn that thing. Looks like the key to this was putting pressure on it to twist as I was extending the cylinder, because I just put this big pry bar in there because the pipe wouldn't fit on the end of that pin, and I was pushing down on it, and it was really hard to turn. It was moving, but it was very hard to turn. And then I just decided, well, I'll extend the cylinder a little and see what happens. As I was extending the cylinder, I actually saw it starting to turn on its own just from the weight of the bar sitting in there. So Alright, that looks pretty good right there. So now I just got to lift up all my other pieces and see whereabouts I need that extended to and get the pin in. Uh-oh. Way back here. I'll try and retract it, but I don't even think the cylinder goes in that far. Which means that while this was sitting here resting, that tilted back further than it was ever intended to go. So let's see if I raise the boom. If I raise the boom, that should flop forward. Oh, a little too far. Oh, that's alright. Alright, that's better. Well, I guess we're going to call it a night right here because it's getting dark, the mosquitoes are biting, and I can't really do a full test until I take care of replacing these pins that I took out. I can't remember if there was a washer on here and then the pin, or if it was just the pin. Same thing with this one up here. What do I do with all that stuff? I'm sure I put it somewhere. Alright, well, hopefully tomorrow we'll test it out.